Hello, everyone. You're very welcome to the Man United Agenda. This is the reaction show to Superman Scotty Mac beating Chelsea 2-1. Hello, everyone, and you're very welcome to this Premier League match reaction show where, for the first time this season, we have beat somebody in the top half of the table. Yoo! And pulling double duty today is Mr. B, fresh from the watch along. So thanks for coming in and joining myself on Monday and Bat Time.
Cheers, man. Cheers, man. I'm ready for this one. I'm ready for this one. I'm happy now.
I'm actually surprised Bat Time didn't put Scotty on his picture today and have a big Superman sign because he pulled us out of the fire. But gentlemen, let me know how you're feeling in general with the game. I can see big belly grins from OMONDI order, so I can guess what way he's going to go.
Yeah, I'm just pleased with the win. Look, we've had a rough couple of weeks on the pitch, off the pitch, banning journalists. We've had issues with Varane. Where's Varane? He wasn't even on the bench today. Rashford was benched today. You know, so much going on at the club, and it's crazy at the moment. We just want a bit of consistency, and that comes with wins and getting 3 points. So we're going to go in today and talk about how we got those 3 points against a Chelsea side full of great players, a lot of great players. They're trying to gel it together, and I'm not going to underplay it. I think Chelsea are a good side, and they can turn up some weeks. Sometimes they don't. They blow hot and cold. But tonight they were cold, and we were hot.
And Bat Time, for all the troubles that we had this season, we're only 3 points behind City now.
Woo. Yeah, I don't think that should be a barometer of anything, to be honest. I think we've got to just concentrate on ourselves rather than using City as a yardstick.
Very true, very true. But I suppose it's time to get in to the nitty-gritty of the occasion. And there was a couple of changes since the last game. We saw Rabat and McTominay playing in the centre of midfield, and Lindelof returned to centre back. And of course, the big talking point, Marcus Rashford found his arse planted on the bench. Any thoughts on that team selection, gents?
I'm not going to go first. I'm glad I thought it would have been, I was hoping it might have been Amrabat and somebody else. Amrabat, I think, played not too bad today. He got about the pitch. He was wasteful with a couple of his crossfield balls. They got intercepted a couple of times. But at least he's shown a level of fitness now. He kept on going. Maybe the full 90, 94, 95 minutes. Hopefully that's just the start, and we'll see a little bit more of him. Defensively, I don't think we were threatened too much. I was a bit disappointed with the goal that we conceded. But I'm not gonna dig into Chelsea. I did that pre and on Monday. Said don't pay it. So look, we had 27, 28 shots at goal in this game. 9, 10 on target, and only scored 2. So I think our finishing definitely needs to improve. But with the chances created, you can't be disappointed, to be fair. And it should have been more than 2. It really should have been more than 2.
Yeah, you know what, Mr. B, when you talk about the lineup, I mean, we spent so long yesterday with Andy Tate going through the solo 11, and we just can't get it right. So we can't factor in who's in favour, who's not, who's been sort of playing the arse in the club. And you saw Rashford on the bench today. That, like Rebel was saying, that was a big decision to be made.
I think it was a great decision.
And remember, we were talking yesterday, and we were saying it would be crucial to see if Varane and Martial and Rashford are not in the starting 11. That would be a statement from the manager. So we talk about leadership qualities. I'm not bringing it back by half time. I know you're going to buy it. But we're talking about leadership qualities. I think that was a good call when you refer to the team sheet today. It was a good team to start with, based on Rashford being on the bench, Varane not being around. So whatever's happened there, I think it's a lot deeper than we actually think. at first. We were
He's
trying
gone.
to play detective yesterday, and I think there's another major clue came up today when he didn't play, and Martial didn't even get a look in as well. So he wanted hungry players that are on board with him. He's drawn the line in the sand with the journalists, and I think he's drawn a line in the sand with the players that didn't start today. That'd be Rashford, Martial, and Varane as well. And that's a major statement. Good management, innit? Bath time.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, I'm not a fan of Amrabat, and I did not like his performance today. He was the one man that stood out to me. I think I've worked out what it is. It's his gait. He takes lots of little mincy touches on the ball.
Yeah.
And what that means is that, like, so when you play in that position, primarily you're looking to pass the ball left or right, to sort of like move the block around, and occasionally try and pass it through the block. But mainly you're looking at sideways or backwards passes. When Amrabat receives the ball, he receives it too close to himself. So he has to take another touch, and it invites,
Get it out.
Yeah, it invites pressure. And I mean, he was pretty much responsible for most of the chances that Chelsea created in the first half. Like, he played a horrible square pass to Lindelof that got us into trouble. I'd much prefer to see Kobe trusted now. I think that from what we've seen today, we've seen what I think Ten Hag has wanted since day one at United, where he's wanted a high press up the pitch and not.
See how much times you won the ball.
Yeah, and most importantly, it led to shots this time. Like, normally when we win the ball high up the pitch, it doesn't really lead to anything. It gets stuck with Rashford or Martial or Garnacho. Today, it led to a goal, but it was an Amrabat won the ball, ironically, for it. But I was really pleased what I saw today. It's nowhere near perfect, but this is what I think we should have looked like in the first couple of games of the Ten Hag era. And I think that this is kind of what we're going to see going forward, and it makes you wonder what's going to happen with Marcus Rashford, because he still looks a little bit lost in what he's doing up front.
Do you think him coming on so late, he wasn't on to, when you're put on with 7 or 8 minutes left, I don't think you're on the pitch to win the game. You're on there to do a job for the team. Do you think that the fact that they played him up front, and Martial is probably is going to be out of, I reckon Martial is going to be out of it now. Do you think that maybe is that because he can't drop Garnacho? Garnacho can't be dropped at the moment. You know, Anthony does the defensive side, the ugly side of the game. Anthony does more than Rashford. Do you think Rashford now would be the second choice striker behind Hoyland?
Well, I think it's horses for courses, and I don't think that Hoyland was great, like off the ball. I'm still a little bit concerned about how he doesn't get on the end of stuff. But I think that Rashford came on because Chelsea were gonna throw everything forward, and Rashford is the player with the electric pace to keep that line honest that Chelsea are gonna try and play up the pitch. So I think that maybe in a different scenario, you might bring Martial on if you want to play in the pockets and link
I don't think
up.
he's going to play again. I really don't think Martial's going to play again.
He scored against Everton the other day.
Yeah, he did, and then he did what he did the other game.
Yeah, but you can't hold your hat on Hoyland being fit all season.
No, you can't. But I think he might be gone in January. Don't you think he might be gone in January?
I don't think that there's like any appetite in the market for Martial. We tried to get rid of him 2 years ago, and we sent him on loan to Sevilla. But apart from that, I don't think I can't see anyone biting, especially with him being on a free in 6 months.
Of course, yeah. Okay.
So I think we will see him again. But we got any comments? What's everyone else saying?
Loads and loads of comments. And first one from Big T said, but Tommy's first touch for the goal, I had to do a double check and make sure it wasn't Ronaldinho. Big up, Big T. Boxing the House said, McTonails, shout out to Fahim. Now, how you doing now, Kane? He said, that was a Scottish Mac sauce. So everyone's happy. Big up to Wildlife Machine. better team spirit today. Very good point. There's something that we don't see, but we can feel. Jeff saying here, big up lads, should have been 5-1. Amount of chances, as Mr. B was saying. Column, how you doing? We finally beat a top half team. Have you been texting Rebel? Because that's what he said. Jeff saying here, our press up top was good, but man, our midfield still gets run through. That's from Jeff. Amrabat's second half was much better than the first, says Jeff. Big up to Yank talking smack. That's Connor. He says Scottish Magnifico. Once again, 13 goals for club and country now this year. Should be a regular starter going forward, but needs to sort out the middle when 2 of our 3 midfielders are getting up. Big up to DK Wilson. He tuned into the watch along. He said that was a quick 15 minutes, Mr. B. Big T again saying we have to capitalise on this and build the team around McTominay to get a solid midfield behind him, and let's go champs. Everyone's delighted. Garnacho was a beast today, and he's starting to show the money we paid for him. So a bit of endorsement for Anthony here from the Wildlife Machine. DK Wilson again said if a manager knows how to pace a young player, it's Ten Hag. Talking about the development of our young boys. Yank is saying here Maguire was stellar again. And he and McTominay both have seemed to turn the corner this season after they're both nearly sold in the summer. Rashford was sent on for his pace later on. You say Mr. B came on late in the game for the counter to close out the game. So I don't think he's be a striker. Rajiji, how you doing? He said, good evening, peeps. Crazy game. Reminded him of playing EA Sports FC 24, winning 2-1, having lots of the ball, loads of shots, but always feel that you're going to concede or lose. That's the AI. There was no AI involved today. Tyrone Williams, how you doing? Tyrone, he says, Haaland's ability to press and create space for others is invaluable. He's only 20 years old, and there's a lot to learn. Martial cannot play for this club again. We need to get rid of him. Big up Ed Mayhem as well. I haven't touched on these comments just yet, but big up to Ed Mayhem as well. Big up to Rajat as well. He's in the house. Man United Jenna, big up. Thank you very much. We deserve betters here as well. 73 million for the flaky Danish pastry. He's talking about Haaland there. Tyrone saying, Mr. Penalty, but responded as captain should. Passing accuracy, 88% key passes, 5 big chances created, 1 ground duel, 50% tackles, interception, 1 interception, 1 clearance, both basically a disciplined performance. So he's talking about.
Can I just say, stats are really deceiving. Bruno really frustrated me today.
Did he? I thought he played really well.
See, and this is mad. There was a lot of the passes. I just thought he chose the wrong pass. His set pieces were crap. Positionally, I thought he Bruno always gets around the pitch, but I thought all of these set pieces. Don't we have anybody else in the team who can take a free kick or a corner?
Luke Shaw.
Well, Luke Shaw got took off a corner, but and his previous corner, McTominay nearly scored from. I was quite surprised to see that. He didn't. I thought Bruno's penalty was absolutely shocking. There's no way around it. All right, it's a poor pen, and he's done it before against Villa and things, but whatever. You move on. I felt that he played what I wanted to see today, which is that I can't recall any stupid crossfield passes from Bruno, and normally we get 6 or 7 of them a game. There was a lot of high volume, short little passes, and he was the man that was freeing Garnacho a lot of the time. I felt that that's the Bruno that I want to see playing a little bit deeper, still being a goal threat, and combining with players, and not feeling that he's like Roy of the Rovers and banging it to Rashford over the top or whatever. So I thought good performance. So
do you think that the shorter passes is the way that the team should be maybe moving forward? Because the shorter passes maybe couldn't be played from the back 3, but obviously when they were further in their third, when, 3-1, and it goes to the 6 maybe, do you think that the passes could be a little bit more sharper?
Yeah, okay. So there are 2 reasons that you play short passes. Short little passes. One is to allow you to be defensively better in transitions, because what you'll see is something called counter marking, which is even though you're in possession of the ball, you still have a man. And the reason you still have a man is in case you lose the ball, you've got a counter press. So this is why people always talk about teams being compact in possession. It's to allow a counter press afterwards. If you're playing it nice and short, you're actually more sort of like you've got better protection because of that counter pressing structure. And the other reason that you play the ball short is that you can tempt people. You can get people out of position much more easily by playing quick, short little passes and moving around. And if you don't tempt them out of position, you then got the ability to do, which we did tonight, which is hit it out to the outlet, which is our flank, and that gets Garnacho or Anthony one-on-one with his man, and then we can queue up at the back post ready for a cross. So this is something that I think we'd much prefer to see: is short passes, players not on the same line horizontally or vertically, just moving the ball about and protecting the ball with the sort of their body shape and the support angles that are given. That's much more, I think, what Ten Hag wants. And playing Bruno deeper is far more conducive to it, because it means you take the opportunity for him just to, like, that rabbit in his head to pull a lever and him just to bang it out into a wide area.
Okay.
Sorry, he kind of bounced around a bit, so I'm just kind of consulting my notes to see where we are.
That was the team selection.
So I was going to ask about the penalty, but so other than the fact that there was no card given, and we've seen similar challenges getting between yellows and reds depending on where the stud have landed, do you think that fact that there was no card was a mistake by VAR, or was the penalty sufficient punishment?
It's supposed to be the ref, I think, supposed to give the card. If he felt, the ref didn't give it, did he? It was called afterwards. Watching it live, I didn't think it was a penalty. But once you saw it in slow motion on the replay, he landed on his foot. So for me, obviously the rules is the rules. Based on the rules, the referee agreed, the VAR guys agreed, everyone agreed afterwards the fact that it was a penalty. But for me, if you could just I could just knock the ball into the stands and then get my foot trod on and say, even though the ball's going nowhere, for me, a foul has to be, I've played it a good pass, or I've got an opportunity here with my pass. Anthony's pass just went to the defender, and then it was like a second after that he got stamped on. I don't think it was a penalty, to be honest, but it is a penalty. If you see what I'm saying, I just think, wow, he didn't even pass it to somebody. It went off. It was a stupid kick. It was like he does time again with his left foot, and I really want Anthony done well with his effort and mentality today, but I don't think we get better play in the positions that he's getting in that time and space. We could be far more effective. So I would say I'm glad it's a penalty, despite us missing. I'm just a bit confused because in the 90s, when there was no VAR or whatever, you play on, you get on with the game. It's making it more and more difficult for defenders now, whether it's handball, whether it's stepping on someone after the fact, a bit of afters or whatever. I just, me personally, we've all played the game. I don't think that's a penalty.
Yeah, I'd agree. I didn't. I thought that I saw Sterling go down, and I thought, right, that's a clear penalty when I saw it. And then you see it back, and it's a different situation. But Rebel, did you think it was a red card?
Well, for me, I was looking at where, and I was discussing this with a few friends of mine, and it wasn't on the ankle, a la the Rashford challenge. So it was probably in the yellow territory for me.
Yeah, then it can't be given. Like you can't give a yellow card through VAR. You can just give a red card. And I thought it was a bit of a lucky penalty, but I mean, we'll take them and we'll miss them, I guess.
Yeah, and actually, it's interesting you mentioned the Chelsea penalty, because when you see it in slow-mo, there was actually clear daylight between. He was a bit late putting the leg towards the United defender, wasn't he? And you could see that he clearly played for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
can I say this about penalties? This little short step jockey to run up, by Bruno does. When he scores and sends to keep it the wrong way, it looks fantastic. A bit like Ivan Toney sort of thing, you know. But when he misses,
it looks shocking.
It doesn't it? And it asks the posing question again. Big up to my brother Kinde's side. His side, he manages the side of youth academy players that get dropped out of academies and he has a side. You know them, Mr. B. Players first, and they were playing in a London tournament the other day. They went to penalties, and he said the same thing I said. He specifically said to all the young boys, put it in the corners, nice, low, and hard. If you miss and it's on target, no problem. And that's I think what you have to do when you miss like that. And it wasn't even a good penalty when the goalkeeper read it. And also he said to the goalkeeper at this game the other day, just stand up, don't dive, and eventually. Things are like Bruno's penalty is so near to you. It's supposed to be in the corner, but it's not. It's so near to you, you can get there. You see what I'm saying? So
have you heard about Jorginho?
Penalties is put in the corners, low and hard.
OMONDI, have you heard about Jorginho? Like the ex-Chelsea and Arsenal midfielder. He's the one that came up with that stupid sort of like bunny hop that they do. He put an article out, I think 2 days ago or a day ago, saying that he's had to completely change his penalty taking technique. Because it's worked for 2 or 3 years, but keepers have now worked out a way to stop that, and you can't generate enough power.
What's the way to stop it? What did he suggest?
Standing still.
Okay, yeah.
No reaction. They know it's coming, so they're not committing to because the way it works, isn't it, is that as he runs up and you think he's going to strike it, you go aside and he pops it the other way. Keepers have trained themselves now not to do that.
Guarantee you, Bruno doesn't do that shifty shuffly for the next penalty.
I was going to say it'd be interesting to see if he changes it. I mean, as long as it's not a Pogba penalty, I hated those. Do you remember sort of like
it looked
like a cartoon sort of?
Yeah, but he did that. I still think he did that for like media and marketing.
Attention.
Yeah, marketing attention. Nobody's ever taken a bloody penalty like that. You know, I mean, it was stupid. Took him 7 hours to take the penalty.
Yeah, but here, right, Mr. B, I know you don't like a couple of players in our midfield. Did you see us getting cut through a lot again today?
To be fair, early in the game, they broke us on. They broke on us a couple of times, and I thought, oh no. I thought it was going to continue like that, but whatever changes they made, I think stopped Chelsea. Because one of the times Chelsea broke, was it 3-4 on 3, and Modric passed the ball to the right when the ball should have gone to the left.
Yeah.
So I think it was a couple of times in game that happened, but more in the first half, early in the first half. So whether Ten Hag made a change, or he had them playing in slightly different positions. I'm not sure what the change was, but it didn't happen too much after that. So
yeah, he did make a change.
He did.
Okay. Yeah, he swapped Amrabat and McTominay around after about 15 minutes.
So where was
McTominay? He was originally on Caicedo, and then there was a swap, and Amrabat went on Caicedo, and McTominay stayed more central. But I actually, OMONDI, I was a bit concerned about their transitions. I felt that there was one every 10 minutes, and that they were just shocking in the final execution. Like, was that good defending from Maguire?
Yeah, great defending by Maguire.
I love it.
It's not just Maguire; it's the defensive line. I think it's really important. So obviously, I was watching the game. The more we do these shows, and the more we learn about the game, I was watching. And certain times when we were giving the ball away cheaply, and they were in transitions, I was looking at Bruno and McTominay's position. And you're right, we are isolating one man with the Amrabat and the back four against the raiding, running terrors like Sterling and Modric and all these guys. And it's not nice to be in that position. But what I felt, you asked about Maguire, what I felt they've done really well today is they stood up really well and said, because you can identify who's running at you, in it like Rebel. So you got Modric, he's right-footed, he's running at you. You know, you want to show him to the left more often. You know, or just offer him. Sometimes there was one time Modric was running down the middle. We had 2 wide men, and they said, "Go down the middle if you want," you know, and see what happens. Do you see what I'm saying? So you want to force the attacker to make the decision by being you can dictate to the attacker where you want them to play, and I think that's really good defending. And not just Maguire, I just think the whole line, because he has to talk as well. It's not just him. He has to talk to his defenders when they're running back. One, he has to say, "Kick the F back" to the midfielders. 2, he has to say, hold, then engage, or something, whatever they're communicating. think they've done it really well because, like you said, Bath time, there's a couple of times where they were transitioning every 10 minutes, according to your watch. But we stood up well. And I think that's the best way to do it. Stand up, let them make the decision at least, and then dictate to them where you want them to play. Just going back to, I want to ask you, Rebel. We talked about the penalty and put it in the corners and how this sort of jockey penalty is getting countered by standing still and leaving it late. The goal we conceded, I think our keeper stood still and then he didn't even move his feet, because I think when you see goalkeeper drills, they shuffle their feet and then dive. You know, he stood there like that, stood still like he was Sanchez on the penalty, and dived late and couldn't reach it. He had time to shuffle his feet over, quick feet, and then dive. So that's another. I'm not a goalkeeper coach or anything, but I've noticed that. I felt that there was there was good save by Sanchez. You said he had a poor game, didn't you? Know, Rebel Sanchez.
Ooh. I wonder, did you think he had a good game? Did you think he had a good game on Monday?
No, Rebel said Sancho had a poor game.
Sanchez.
Sorry.
Oh, so I was going to say, I agree with you, Rebel. I want to hear you. I want to hear your story now. Talk to me.
Yeah, I suppose just touch on the Cole Palmer goal just briefly. I think, it'd be unfair to maybe totally put the blame on Onana for going late there, because from his perspective, he was looking at Maguire, who seemed to be in the right position, and Lindelof bundling across and always getting in his way in order to put in a block, a foot, try and maybe rush Cole Palmer. So it seemed like there was maybe a bit of miscommunication in that Lindelof came across and he caused, I suppose, a bit of confusion, and then it came through, and then all of a sudden Onana saying, "Oh crap, I need to dive," and it tucked away into the corner. So I think we blame Onana for a lot, but tonight I don't think you can blame him for that goal, and I don't think you can blame Maguire either. I think it was his partner in crime, who incidentally came off injured, and that is another one going on the treatment table.
Is he taken off injured?
Wow.
That's what they were saying on Premier Sport, is that he came off injured.
Well, I mean, two things on Lindelof. I feel that the goal was almost completely on Onana. Like, Amonde, you know better than me, but I felt that it was defended pretty well. Lindelof has to go across with him. But Maguire holds his position, and I don't think that weak shot should go in at the far post. That looks to me like a keeper that is really poorly positioned and not aware of danger. I thought it was good defending. Well, not good defending. No one took charge of the situation, but they all did the basics, except for Onana.
Would you expect the shot to have gone in that side?
Yeah, he's left-footed, and he's going to strike across. I think as a goalkeeper, your biggest, certainly as a defender or in a defensive situation, my biggest worry there would be the nutmeg shot, like of it going
right, which would have been the one that was going. So he would have been firing it straight, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure.
No, he would have been firing it into that corner with the nutmeg shot.
You still think he would have been going to the left-hand corner? Yeah.
Yeah. Like what 100%. I think Onana opened it up too much, and I think that Lindelof actually defended that quite well by not falling for all the little feints that Palmer was doing. Yeah. Like when you look at Rashford, I like this in what Rashford does. A lot of the time, he'll just take an extra shot, an extra touch before he pulls the trigger, and it's to bait out someone sticking their leg. Like he did it against Arsenal in particular. But one thing that I'm really pleased that. Not really pleased, but I'm quite pleased that Lindelof came off for injury rather than tactical reasons, because I felt in the first half Lindelof was really, really good in terms of that when he had the ball, he wasn't getting the ball forward quickly. He was scanning the pitch and seeing if there was enough protection to move the ball up a line before he passed it, because all our rotations were slow. Like Amrabat, McTominay, Bruno were all slow in dropping into the space when we were in possession. Like it's a system that hasn't clicked for them yet. It's not smooth. They're not rotating like clockwork. And I thought Lindelof really stood out as a man who understood that he had to wait for like the sort of the security of players in the centre before moving the ball forwards. And I'd love to see more of that from our defenders.
Speaking of goalkeepers, and before we get to the comments, Monday did raise my comments on Mr. Sanchez. And I think this comes in the context of Todd Bowley spending £1 billion, 3 transfer windows to create this Chelsea football team. We had the Chelsea fans audibly singing, "Your city is blue just like London." I'd question that fact because it ain't blue, but that's beside the point. But Sanchez, throughout that first half, put pressure on Thiago Silva, on young Colwell, by making calamitous distributions that gave United platforms to spring. If Manchester United, to quote on Monday, could finish their dinner, you probably should be out of sight at half time and going home for an early dinner. Would you not agree? Because Sanchez put his team into bother.
Not for me. I think we put them into bother. Like the passes that they were getting, like so normally with like a pressing trap, it's quite a placid affair until there's a trigger, and the trigger's normally a square pass to a centre back, and then you try and win the ball in a wide area. What we did, I'm not a huge fan of, but it's something you've got to accept, is we played like a 7-man press, man marking, and the key component of it was the relationship between Dalot and Anthony. Like, if you ever watch Anthony play, he constantly checks his shoulder to see where Dalot is, because Delot's got to jump his line and get up on that right fullback. I felt that, I think it's a bit harsh to say a guy that did a great double save from McTominay and saved a penalty had a poor game. I felt more it was that our man marking caused the Chelsea players huge problems because they're being followed in their rotations. And when that happens, they're receiving the ball on their bad side or their weak foot or something like that. Like, to be honest, Chelsea should have dropped more men back to deal with it. So I wouldn't put it all on Sanchez at all.
Any comments, Mr. B, before we go to the comments?
No, Sanchez was I have my opinion on Chelsea now that I didn't have before, and I think Sanchez is a big part of Chelsea's problems.
You didn't think Caicedo, or Enzo,
I mean, considering they spent so much money on that midfield, I mean, maybe it'll click in time, but I wasn't impressed with Chelsea.
They missed a runner. They missed Gallagher tonight.
Well, great. Thank God Gallagher didn't play.
Yeah,
but they didn't impress me today. Bath time. I know we gave Chelsea, a good shellacking today. In regards to beating. But in regard of chances created, and the fact that we just kept on going. But Chelsea are a very, very poor team, man.
The league don't lie, does it?
Well, I would rather we were first, but at the moment we probably do deserve to be.
We were first in the form table.
Yeah,
maybe we're in that table now.
Yeah,
all right,
well,
quick comments here. We need combination of passes, or it becomes too predictable. Remember earlier we were talking about Barthelme was referring to how we built the ball up from the back, or playing shorter passes to get forward. A lot of time. I saw a few third-man runs, by the way, Bath Time today.
Very nice.
Big saying here, question for Bath Time. Why is McTominay scoring? Why is he having joy? How can Ten Hag strengthen that and capitalise on McTominay's clear attacking prowess?
Well, I mean, McTominay's scoring a lot. And, I mean, Mr. B on his fantastic watch-along blamed McTominay for not allowing Hoyland to score his first Premier League goal.
I'm sorry. Oh,
dear.
Do you know what it was like, Mr. B? It was like, do you remember Ronaldo's header against Tottenham? Pure focus, pushed everyone out of the way and, nutted it in. That was what McTominay was like on the second. But it's... I mean, McTominay, I felt he got on the ball a bit too much today. I don't want to see him on the ball. I want to see him running mainly.
And I want to see my central midfielder on the ball.
Yeah, but that's just not how it's played anymore. I know you think midfielder should be on the ball. It makes sense and stuff. But in the same way that Chelsea had lots of problems because they didn't have Gallagher, who plays the same sort of position as McTominay, McTominay's sort of role is to make the first run. So he either makes the first run in or the first run out. And that gives space to other players to get on the ball. And then he runs the channels. And when you run the channel, it gives Anthony space to come in, or it gives Delo space to come in. And all we're really looking for from McTominay is to apply the final touch, which is what he did a few times tonight. So like, I think what Ten Hag is doing him is he's playing him in the classic like right-sided midfielder role, where it's I think Johan Cruyff said that a player only touches the ball for 2 or 3 minutes per match. It's what they do off the ball that's important. And that's what McTominay is doing, is that he's allowing us to, with his running power, he's allowing us to create overloads on both sides by being able to. Yeah.
Do you think this is a system that Ten Hag wanted to play?
I do, because
falling into it.
Well, no, because McTominay is basically playing the role Donny van der Beek has tried to play all his life.
Yeah, but he wanted to sell him.
Yeah, because I don't think he wants to sell him because
Summer. No, I'm talking about McTominay.
No, McTominay had a price tag. Like he was perfectly fine with letting him go. But he was also perfectly fine with keeping him. He wanted to sell Maguire, I think, but I'm not sure he wanted to sell McTominay. Like, that's my understanding.
Guys, to wrap this up, so we've got a Garnacho and a McTominay as man of the match. That's from Rajat. We asked a question there. We're being too critical about the game. Then I will say the strikers are poor or the attacking players are poor. We need another attacking coach. That's from Rajiji. Anana, we talked about the goal. Anana was too far off his line for the Cole Palmer goal. I don't know if he's off his line too far, but I thought he was quite on the goal line. But we have to review that one. I like Holand. He's one like most here. But United still lack a world-class striker, hence why we only scored 2 goals from 27 shots. Rajiji again saying, who was Garnacho looking every time you did something good or bad? Who was Garnacho looking every time you did? Don't understand that one. But ideally, we have a centre-forward in the mould of an older Robin van Persie with Holand as the understudy. Big T saying here, I don't want to be negative, but Nana should have done better. Thankfully, it didn't matter in the end. JR, how you doing? He said standard Lindelof is not tight enough. It's referring to the goal that we conceded. He was saying he should have been tighter to Cole Palmer. Box is saying Evans is back from injury because obviously Lindelof got injured. Spot on bath time. Poor goalkeeping from Anana. Again, he is worrying me. That's from Tyrone. JR saying keep his union. All Lindelof. I want to say hi to Solo. He's saying good evening to everyone. He's also saying Mr. B, Scotty too hotty on fire tonight and laughing. Obviously, he's good. Take it on you for comedy hating. Beefy Breaker, how you doing? Says Rashford cannot moan about Garnacho starting. His output is far superior, and he's shown a willingness to cross with both feet. Rashi crosses as a last option. That's from Beefy Breaker. Big up. DK Wilson, Maguire had every chance by half time. By your logic, the goal by a right-footed player at the near post versus Galatasaray. The third goal was unexpected, right?
I can't recall. I've got a terrible memory.
Okay.
But yes, I'll say yes.
Big T saying a question for everyone. Was that performance good enough to beat any of the teams above us? DK Wilson's again, bath time. Oh,
done that one.
He's done it twice. He's done it twice. Jeff saying here, Holand is a beast on the hold-up. He starts scoring, it's going to be Danish Drogba. And we should have been 4-1 up at half time, says DK Wilson. Here's Solo going in. Here we go. I knew this was coming. Solo is saying, with the results, I wouldn't get too carried away with this. We need to see more consistent performances at first. And Rajat is saying here, McTominay runs, not meant to be dribbling, no technician. So he's with bath time there. He sees it. Tyrone saying here, I never thought Conor Gallagher would be a Chelsea star, man. That's where they're going wrong. They are so disjointed. He's laughing. Conor Gallagher isn't that good, says Rajat as well. And finally, we got Box saying, Evra on Palmer, being a United fan. I think he let us down. I need to talk to his parents. I know he grew up as a Man United fan, but he ended up playing for City. He must not be a real fan. I just want to say, Cole Palmer is one of the best talents I've seen for a long time. Reminds me so much of Chris Waddle. You know, when he's languidly, he can drop the shoulder. That's why he can stand up these defenders and get a goal like that, because you don't want to dive in with him. He's just got those little feints and dummies and jockeys. I think he's super talented.
I'm just aware now that we're coming into the wee hours and it is a school night where we're all getting up early for work in the morning. So I'm going to bring us into the final third. And as some of you may be aware, Chelsea Twitter is currently going into meltdown. They're calling for Bowley to address the misdeeds by the management. They're saying they spent £1 billion. How can they be this bad? So just take in the reaction from Chelsea Twitter, the fact that they're calling for their manager's head, etc. Do we, as United fans, now need to temper our expectations from that performance? Bearing in mind that we're playing Bayern Munich and Liverpool in our next 2 games.
Well, we've got Bournemouth.
And Bournemouth as well. But there's big games ahead. Do we need to kind of say, right, 3 points is great. We got it done. Scotty T was wearing Superman pajamas today. Got the goals for us when it was important. But going forward, does it take addressing certain issues within the squad, moving and replacing maybe some personnel to take us from January to the summer to maybe push towards a Champions League place? Do we need to kind of come off our high horse, accept the win, accept the 3 points, but go, Chelsea just weren't at it today?
Who's on a high horse?
Yeah. I'm on my high horse. I just want to say, I'll be very quick with this because Mr. B was saying, "Oh, Chelsea was poor." I've heard other people saying Chelsea were poor. We can't get too boosted by what happened today. I want to see us perform. You have to demonstrate that we can play a certain way. Like I said at the start of the show, there's been an attitude adjustment. He slapped up a few people, and they played with the right attitude today. At least you can say that. 30-odd shots on goal, great turnovers high up in the pitch. That's our ID. For a team that doesn't have an identity, we've shown today what our identity is. Sorting out the issues with the transitions a lot better than before. So going into these games, like you said, Rebel, we've got Bournemouth, then we've got Bayern, which is a must-win game, and then we've got Liverpool, which is a must-win game. So it's better to go in. You're only as good as your last game, so it's better to go in with confidence, and that's all we can ask for. So let's go to Bournemouth with the same attitude as we showed today. And I think we can get a result based on that. I really do. So the attitude is the most important thing, and that's been changed by the manager who switched things around and got players on today, got them galvanised for this game to get the 3 points. And when you look at the league now, you're thinking, all right, it's in our grasp. That's something to aim for. That's something achievable. And then you'll be thinking, right, we're going to Bayern Munich. Well, Bayern Munich coming to Old Trafford. Maybe that's achievable based on our form. Then we go and look at Liverpool going to Anfield. Anyway, let's go to the next.
No, I don't think you're too crazy there, Omondi. I think like the sort of positives that we should take from it tonight is I know lots of people don't like McTominay, they don't like Anthony, they don't like Delot, etc., etc. But what we saw tonight was the start of a system, right? In terms of in possession and out of possession. At times, it wasn't particularly good. Like it lacked fluidity with rotations and things. Our striker, Hoyland, wasn't quite on it again in terms of sort of getting the final touch. But you know, we had McTominay there to sort of do it. But we created a lot of chances, and we created most of them through the press. We had Bruno using the ball intelligently, and we've got a really high quality player in Garnacho who will, apart from just doing crazy bicycle kicks for no reason halfway through the match. Once again, his use of the ball was fantastic. And I was a bit worried he was going to be sent off when he got a yellow card for petulance very early on. And I could have killed Reguilon at the end. He added an extra 30 seconds on for a stupid yellow card. But the point is that we've got the start of a system. And it's the players on the pitch that were doing that system, where you saw the energy from Hoyland, from Garnacho, from Anthony, from McTominay, Bruno, and Amrabat. Right, some of them are not. You might doubt their quality, right? But what we need to do is we need to put those players out again and again. Keep playing that way of football.
Agree.
And when it comes to the summer, we look at, say, Anthony and think, can we get an upgrade there? Look at Delot, look at Shaw, look at Maguire, look at Tom, look at all of them, and think, right, who can we get in that can upgrade it? And then those players will have to fight with each other to start. So even though I don't really care what Chelsea Twitter are saying. I mean, if it's anything like Man United Twitter, it's a load of nonsense. But the thing is that we've seen what Ten Hag wants, and we've seen the players that can do it, and we've seen 27 shots on goal. We've seen lots of defensive problems still. There's still lots of issues in the team, but this is what we should have seen 2 years ago against who was it? It was Brighton, our first game with Ten Hag. This is what we should have seen, and now I think that going forward, if we can keep getting these performances, not necessarily results, I think everyone can get behind the manager because you're seeing what he wants, and you're not seeing Martial and Rashford absolutely clueless on the pitch. You're seeing everyone like moving in the same direction. So regardless of what happens against Bayern and against Liverpool, if we go out and work as a team and we see what we're moving towards, I think everyone will be able to get behind that, the players and the manager. I certainly will, Amondo.
Mr. B, you were the one at the start of the show. You put it out there. You said, I'm happy, but you felt that Chelsea were poor. And that's downplaying our performance. How do you feel now?
We do. Look, I still think Chelsea were poor. I watched them play, and they can't play out from the back. They've got a goalie who just kicks the ball away. So I'm happy with the win. We have Bournemouth next game. Let's take what we did today, as Bathtime said, play those same players, because the ones who have been playing haven't been playing the system that he wants to play. Rightly or wrongly, whether I think these players are really good or not, it's got fuck all to do with me. Play the same system, play the same players, and then those players who have to come in. I mean, Bathtime, you said about the energy levels of the front three. Rashford's never run like that in his whole life. The way that Garnacho ran up and down, the way that Anthony ran up and down, the way that Hoyland ran. These are his three players. These are players who want to play for the club. So if Rashford wants to keep sulking and not putting the work in, then it is what it is. The summer's come, and Mbappe will be gone, and PSG will already offer him 4 bills. It's not too far, France to Manchester on a private jet. It's no headache.
And Kobe, do you think, like, my issue with Kobe is I don't like the man marking that he has to do and that Amrabat has to do. Like,
do you know what? Do you think it's do you think it's something that he has to do to get through this particular difficult time period? Because maybe that's not something that Ten Hag really, really wants to do, but at the moment it's something that needs to be done.
Do you mean the man marking or playing?
The man marking.
No, the man marking is a key part of his system. Like, it's one of the things that I really don't like is that he's hoping that we can win individual duels all over the pitch, and what it allows us to do in attacking sense is it allows us to really press high up the pitch. You'll often see Lindelof and Maguire like in crazy positions up the
Maguire
pitch.
Maguire was right back.
Yeah,
right wing today.
Did you see that today? With Maguire crowd on his guy, laying him as well, and he got into it, and he tried to cross the ball, thinking, right, I'm going to deliver a Beckham cross as well to go with this as well. It's nice to see the crowd supporting him like that, by the way. And he did.
They always do at Old Trafford, but I mean, the thing is that I don't think that Kobe is. I mean, he's a boy in it. Like, he's not a man. He hasn't developed his physique for Premier League football yet. He's got all the talent in the world, but I don't like how much responsibility is placed on him. And I think in this current system, we're more likely to see Amrabat than we are. Yeah. And I'm okay with that, because even though I thought Amrabat was one of the weaker performers tonight, he was part of the team and he did what he was told to do, and he did it to the best of his ability. And going forward, that's how we get out of the mess. Hard work. And you're right about Rashford. Rashford on the bench has to see what Hoyland is doing. He's not scoring. He's not really holding the ball up. He's not getting in at the far post, but he's running. And he's making a Chelsea team that costs billions look like a Vauxhall Conference outfit because they can't get out because of that running.
I suppose.
To be fair, sorry, the whole team. If you look, sorry, I know you were going to cut it. Just 1 sec about the running. We had runners everywhere. That front. If you look at Hoyland, Anthony, got Garnacho, Bruno, McTominay, and Amrabat.
And the fullbacks as well, like Shaw, Reguilon, Delo, were all getting forwards as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Like we're constantly overloading like everywhere. And the thing is that I know it sounds ridiculous, but running is so important. It pushes teams back, and we've got to get our best runners in the team to make teams like Chelsea look like a bunch of amateurs. Because if we played the way we did against Newcastle with that ridiculously inefficient like press, they'd have got out without any problems. And and then we have to deal with like Sterling and Colwell and Cole Palmer and stuff.
Did Rashford play the Newcastle game? He did, didn't
he? Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose, gentlemen, it is getting close to the witching hour, and there is work to be done in the morning. I imagine there's little point in asking who the player of the match was. There probably is the Super Scott. If you're agreement, nod. If you have something different to say, speak now, forever hold your peace.
I think Garnacho.
I think Harry Maguire was man of the match for me.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Oh, Monday.
Outstanding.
I thought he was on the edge on Monday. I
heard what you said about that. But you have to be. He's got to get that confidence now where he can play on the edge. Yeah,
it's true. He did a wonderful body check, like in the second half when the ball came across. But I was going to ask you something, which is I like Delo as a back post defender. I think he's far better when the ball is in the air than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But Borja hit the bar tonight. He got shoved off by Jackson. I don't know if you remember that, and Jackson should have scored. Like, he just gave him a clear push. But is Onana helping at the back post enough, like being decisive at claiming crosses?
Let the guy get more confidence. I mean, he needs to get familiar with his back four. It's a back. Remember the Arsenal, great Arsenal defense. They didn't say the back four; they said the back five, including the goalkeeper. And I think that is a unit because the communication has come all around. Once communication improves, I think he can get against that confidence to have more command of his area and deal with things like that. Then we saw him against Wolves when he came over to the back post and ended up punching not the ball, but knocked out at least two men with one punch. I haven't seen that done since I was down the pub last weekend.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But I think it's just about consistency by half time, I believe. I think more communication, consistency, and then we might be able to see the true full potential of our Onana.
I just want to thank all our panelists tonight and those in the comments. On Monday, bath time, Mr. B. We have been the Man United agenda. Mr. B is now going to crawl into his Scott McTominay pajamas and dream of things gone by. But we have been the United agenda, and we'll be back at 9 tomorrow.
See you on Monday, lad.